Remember when Halo was good? Let me refresh your memory. Halo was the game that took the first-person shooter from PC niche to console mainstream and beyond. As a result, its developer Bungie became something of a legend too. It had iconic sound from Marty O'Donnell. It was a launch title for the original Xbox, and man, even the adverts were the best. Let's react to a few right now. In all honesty, this has got to be one of the greatest gaming adverts ever. It's just so clever. I don't know how they came up with this concept, but it's brilliant. Like, this model is fantastic. It literally gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. There's loads of other adverts, to be honest. Now I've looked at it, there's probably 15 minutes of adverts, and they've all got music, so I might not be able to play them all on YouTube. I'm going to put links to the videos in the description, and some of them will pop up on screen. If you want to watch those in their entirety, I recommend doing it if you haven't seen them before, because man, this was the pinnacle of gaming. Look at the ODST one that's coming on next. It's just so good. The quality, the amount of time and effort they put into these videos, it's better than some movies we get. And I know they're a lot shorter, but bear in mind, this is just a video game. This is just an advert for a video game. In all honesty, the game industry peaked at Halo 3, and I don't think we've ever come quite to that level again. Anyway, I'll keep playing the rest of them in the background and mix in some gameplay, but thoroughly recommend checking some of these adverts out because they are just brilliant. Well, like all great products, it was the perfect storm of success. The right people at the right time with the right technology. I already mentioned the iconic music, but Halo was also a graphical and gameplay sensation. It pushed the frontier of gaming, and for me personally, it was a game that instantly captured my imagination. Playing co-op with a friend and fighting through the Covenant in the Pillar of Autumn for the first time is something I'll never forget. I also remember the many System Link games we set up around a friend's house in those days before internet matchmaking. The good old days. We don't even get couch co-op these days. Back then, we all assumed that Bungie would just make Halo forever. And after Halo 2, ODST and 3 came out, despite some shortcomings, overall we had 4 games on the bounce that didn't disappoint. Each pushed the envelope of gaming and the Chief's story that little bit more. Then we got the announcement that Halo Reach would be Bungie's last Halo game. I guess they just wanted to own the IP they were making, and at the time that seemed like a good idea. Clearly, in 2024, a lot of ex-Bungie devs might be regretting that decision. But yeah, at the time I can totally understand why they wanted to go out under their own steam. And Destiny could well have worked out for them, but that's a different story. Anyway, overall Reach was a great swan song. I absolutely loved it. Well, 80% of it. The multiplayer was fantastic, and the campaign was overall pretty good, despite the story dropping off a cliff in the final act. So Bungie exits stage right, and Microsoft bring in a homebrew studio, 343, under the massive hack Bonnie Ross. If I remember correctly, Microsoft were actually lining up Borderlands developer Gearbox to take over for Bungie, as they'd worked on the PC port for the original Halo game, but Ross and some staff from Bungie that opted to stay with Microsoft pitched 343 and Microsoft was swayed. A few years later, we get Halo 4, 343's first game, and I think this has now become a bit of a Force Awakens story. What I mean here is that I was very willing to give 343 a chance, and that for a first outing, if that game represented the lowest quality bar, then maybe 343 had some potential. In hindsight, we can see that actually the franchise never really got much better than Halo 4, and that narratively, 343 immediately put themselves into a black hole, and the story hugely suffered as a result. What do I mean? Well, specifically, I hate that they changed/defined the origins of humans and the Forerunners. I think the whole war between humans and Forerunners trying to escape the Flood was trash. It ruined the mystique, and like all good stories, what you don't tell is as important as what you do. I don't think we needed to define all the history, and doing so ruined the alien mystery and the intrigue the story had. Oh, and killing Cortana off was unbelievably moronic. Seems like they realised this pretty quickly, as in Halo 5, Cortana is magically back, only now as some evil facsimile of herself. Again, this game got close to the mark, but just didn't quite get there. We got this weird kind of false advert you can see in the background now. This never comes to pass, and it isn't in the game at all. Equally, Spartan Locke and the Spartan Foes or whatever were just rubbish. As is making Halsey the Fall Guy and all the other nonsense, 5 still didn't really feel like a full-blooded Halo game. Though there is one mission on the game that's actually good, and that's the first mission with the Chief. I think it's called Spartan Blue Team. It's actually a great mission that I really enjoyed. Everything else in the game is just subpar, contrived, and repetitive. In comes Infinite. First, we have to address the elephant in the room. Their initial launch trailer got absolutely mocked into oblivion, largely thanks to Halo Craig, aka the ugliest brute alive, who's become something of a gaming legend himself. Microsoft and 343 were quick to say that fan concerns would be addressed, and lo and behold, Infinite comes out, and we all raise our hands. 343 has finally cracked it. The gameplay feels back on point. They shock us with an early multiplayer beta. Everything is shaping up, and we were all pleasantly surprised. For the first time in years, I got into competitive multiplayer and put a ton of time in. It was great. The campaign launched, and I think the rose-tinted glasses came out again. So I think I wanted to like the game so much, it kinda threw my radar off. I was convinced this was an 8 out of 10 game. However, 6 months later, and we still have the same handful of maps the game launched with. Technical errors dog the multiplayer, and in my opinion, the integration with PCs introduced a ton of cheaters and issues that ruined multiplayer. This prompted me to go back over the campaign. Was I too generous? I began to see that the huge open world is basically empty, that the outposts mechanic doesn't really do anything. At no point did it feel like an active war zone, and on top of that, the campaign story just didn't make sense. It's like they realised how bad the arcs from 4 and 5 were, so they tried to pivot. Again, I get the thinking. Hell, I agree the game needed to pivot badly, but the execution was abysmal. As if things weren't bad enough already, 343 then promptly collapses. Bonnie Ross leaves, or more likely was politely asked to leave, and the game's been on fire ever since. The biggest travesty being that the gunplay and shooting feels like the best it's been in a long time. Overall, it's clear that the game was rushed to release and essentially unfinished at launch, despite already having been delayed. I would also go so far as to say Microsoft don't really give a damn. As to pour salt in the wound, we get the Halo TV series. Like, what the... Honestly, what is wrong with Paramount and Microsoft? This show is a complete shit show. I don't even want to talk about it. Just so wide of the mark, it's unreal. The less said about it, the better. Microsoft, what are you doing? Halo should be doing gangbusters, and you and 343 have instead killed it. The story/lore just feels like a complete mess. You've killed and half revived Cortana, so we now have fake Tana. Halsey's a war criminal or something. The Infinity is lost or destroyed. Not that anyone cares. And in your flagship TV series, we have waited decades for the Chief is running around committing war crimes with his goddamn helmet off. I mean, this sums up Infinite. Look at the live action advert they made.
Okay. First, I'd like to thank the UNSC for rejecting my proposal. This time, rather than show you schematics, I thought I'll show you the real thing. Project Magnus. The conductive transfer of an equal mass and high tensile fiber, or as one of you call it, a rope. Test 1.0. Technically.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. And you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks.
Conductive transfer.
Boring!
Some boring ass scientist woman struggling to make a gas-powered grapple launcher. No war, no Spartans, no Marines. Literally some woman having a pep talk, and then, let's go women in STEM advert. Wow. So cool. I really want to spend my money to play this game now. At this point, you would assume maybe Microsoft/Xbox would be desperate to right the ship. Bring in a veteran studio or devs, fix the issues with Infinite as best as possible, and then work to retcon the story and bring out a sequel that might please fans.
Wrong.
Nope. All they've done is rebrand 343 into Halo Studios. I'm sure that there is new staff as well, and we now have this little update video where the team has confirmed that they're moving to Unreal Engine 5. This doesn't sound like a bad plan in my opinion, as Unreal 5 does seem to be an incredibly powerful engine, and having a team split focus between the game engine and the video game, especially a team that has a record of struggling to deliver, is probably not a good thing. This way they can focus all their effort on just making the best Halo game possible. So initially you think, okay, we might finally get a good quality Halo game.
Right.
Within hours of the video being released, the internet was busy tearing down every element of the video. And for me, there are two major red flags. The first is the fact that they mention having multiple Halo projects in the works. To this I just think, why? You should all be focused on delivering a superb standalone video game and nothing else. If and when you land that, you can start working on other things. So this has me worried based on the fact that 343 completely shat the bed with Halo Infinite, and in my view, you don't give more work to a guy who's failed to deliver in the past, never mind multiple pieces of work. I mean, we haven't even touched on the fact that it took them 5 years to fix the Master Chief Collection post-launch. Secondly, in Melissa Boone. She is clearly an activist, and her qualifications to be the Chief of Staff of Halo are a Gender Studies degree. Oh, and her very limited gaming experience does not consist of any significant first-person shooters. So if this is the caliber of the senior leaders in Halo Studios, I think it's very understandable to be concerned about this franchise, especially given its consistent poor performance over the past decade. Again, I seem to end all my videos saying this. I could be wrong, but I won't be pre-ordering the next Halo game, and really Microsoft and 343, I mean Halo Studios, needs to prove to me that they still have a game/franchise worth buying. Because right now, I'm out. Sorry Chief, but I don't believe anymore. Hashtag make a good Halo game. Time will tell, and as always, f*** Erebus.